the rest of the time reviewing. All right. Who knows? Who was the leader of Italy in World War II?
Mussolini.
Mussolini. Who is the leader of Great Britain during most of World War II? Great Britain, all right. Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill. Leader of Great Britain during most of World War II. Who was the American president during most of World War II? Who? Not Wilson, that's World War I. Who was the American president during most of World War II?
Roosevelt.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And notice I said most of. In the case of the British, just before the war ended, they got rid of Churchill in a vote. And in our country, just before the war ended, our president died. All right, who took his place after he died? Harry Truman. Who was the leader of the Soviet Union during World War II? You need to know that you're going to run into these names from time to time throughout your life.
Stalin.
Joseph Stalin, leader of the Soviet Union in World War II, one of the most cruel men who ever ruled a country. One of the most cruel men, actually, who ever lived. Joseph Stalin. Backing up a little bit. Who was the Indian leader who encouraged passive resistance to Great Britain and said that if we resist long enough, the British will leave us alone? Who was this leader? And I've gone back. He'll be, if he's not on a test for your class, he will be for the other. His name was Gandhi. After World War I, a leader took over Turkey who tried to westernize and secularize Turkey. He forbade the Muslim men from wearing the fez, the Turkish hat. He forbade any form of dress from showing your religion. He said, I want to be able to walk down the streets and not tell a Muslim from a Christian from a Jew. What's his name? It's been a couple weeks since I went over this, but it's there. His name is Ataturk. You're from, I believe, that part of the world. Do you ever hear reading about Ataturk? He took over Turkey and he elevated women. Basically, he convinced European people that Turkey was not as anti-European as it had been before. All right. I hope you'll know this one. Who was the German leader during World War II?
Hitler.
Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler. Yeah. Again, he was more evil than Stalin. Hitler called his party by what name? His party was the Nazi Party. Mussolini's party was the, begins with an F. Fascist. Mussolini's party was fascist. These parties were very, very much socialistic. In the case of Nehru, he finally formed a partnership with another Indian leader. They were opposites in every way except they both agreed on one thing: they wanted the British out. And this was a man who took over when Gandhi was killed. What's his name? Again, if you had grown up when I did, you'd have heard his name a lot because he used to make world news a lot. Name is Nehru. neighbor. He tried to play both sides against each other in the Cold War. He refused to join with the United States. He refused to join with the Soviet Union. To us, he appeared to be communistic. To the Reds, he appeared to be capitalistic. He really was neither one. Actually, that name Ataturk, his full name was Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. He went by 3 names. After World War I, a European country captured and took over Egypt. What country had Egypt for several years? And they also had Palestine and Middle East. If that helped. Great Britain. Now France wound up with Iraq and Iran and Syria. And that's why France still has some influence in that region. But Great Britain took over Egypt and Palestine. They promised Palestine a homeland, which they didn't deliver, but eventually they turned the problem over to the United Nations. Let's see. In China, you had a faction going on. I mentioned earlier today Mao Zedong won out, but who was Mao Zedong's opponent during the Chinese Civil War? Chiang Kai-shek. Chiang Kai-shek. Oh yeah, now here's one. And those of you here, I can't say it's going to be on your test, but this is one that you might not remember. What Latin American country, in the period between the wars, took lands from the rich and redistributed these lands among the poor? And again, every time this has been done, it hasn't worked. It didn't this time either. But what Latin American country redistributed the lands? It's on page 721 of your book, Mexico. Mexico. Again, we talked today about how the communists did some of this. Take land from the rich and redistribute among the poor, and folk, when it's been done, it has not worked. It seemed like it should work, but it was tried in Korea, at least once, tried in Mexico, and tried under communism. I believe the Japanese may have done it on occasion. The Chinese have done it at least once, maybe more. All right. World War II began in Europe, not with the United States, but it began in Europe with what event? What happened that made World War II start in Europe? Germany invaded what country? Poland. Germany invaded Poland. Excellent. Germany invaded Poland, and it got World War II started in Europe. Now, the United States got involved when, what happened? It got the United States involved. That's World War I. World War II began for the United States when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. The Zimmerman letter, yeah, that's World War I. All right. All right. Oh yeah, I really want to remember this fellow. Who was the British Prime Minister who signed a paper giving Hitler everything he wanted and said, with this, I guarantee there'll be peace in our time. Me and Hitler agreed our countries will not go to war against each other. Who is the man I'm thinking about? And he goes down in history as one of the biggest fools to ever govern a major country. The policy is called appeasement. The man's name is Neville Chamberlain. You'll hear from time to time throughout your life about Chamberlain. Every time we deal with an evil dictator, you'd hear talk about Neville Chamberlain trying to give the dictator what he wants. All right. What battle in the Pacific Ocean was a Navy battle where neither side saw each other? They'd shoot at each other and their airplanes would bomb each other, but the ships on both sides never saw the enemy. It was the Battle of the Coral Sea. Battle of the Coral Sea. All right. When we talk about the Holocaust, what event are we talking about? What's that?
Jews.
Who?
The killing of Jews.
The killing of Jews. Yeah, by Germany, killing of Jews during the time World War II was going on, the Holocaust. Oh yeah, I'm not going to ask it, but the book calls it, it's called sometimes the final solution. In other words, there's a problem. The problem is there are Jews in the world, the solution is kill them all. Final solution to the Jew problem. Genocide, mass killings. Oh yes, Hitler believed in a master race, and he called his master race, of course they were Germans, but what was the word he used to describe the master race?
White superior.
What?
White superior.
That's close, but he had a word. Aryan. Aryan. Aryan did mean white supremacy, or white, yeah, white, but Aryan. The war finally ended when what was the last big event of World War II that ended the war for all sides? One big event, and the war ended on all sides. It was the, what's that? I think I heard it over here.
They
Bombed
bombed.
two Japanese cities. They bombed two Japanese cities. Their names were Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I believe that Hiroshima was first, and when Japan still wouldn't surrender, they bombed Nagasaki. We didn't tell them we didn't have any more bombs. It would take us months to develop more. We didn't tell them that, but we dropped two bombs, and at that point Japan finally surrendered unconditionally. Can any of you name the three big conferences that occurred while the war was going on, where they divided up, without the United States, while the Soviet Union was planning to divide up Europe into communist and non-communist camps? The three big conferences that gave the Soviet Union the go-ahead to take over Eastern Europe were, what's that? Tehran, Yalta, and Potsdam. And the Soviet Union was to control Eastern Europe for 45 years, from 1945 to 1990. Tehran, that's in Iran. Tehran, Yalta, that's under Crimea, and Potsdam. Beyond, I don't know where Potsdam is. But essentially, our presidents went all the way. Stalin hardly left his own country. So all these conferences occurred near the Soviet Union, or at least inside or near the Soviet Union. Yalta was inside the Soviet Union. Tehran was close to the Soviet Union. These conferences occurred close to the Soviet Union. Our presidents had to fly halfway around the world to get to them. And I say presidents, Roosevelt was in the first two, and Truman in the last one. And at these conferences, the groundwork was laid for the Soviet Union to take over Eastern Europe. All right. The countries that were under control of communism during this time got to be called, well, what name? Huh? It's named after a metal element. Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain countries. Okay. I don't